What's good, my peoples? Simple versus hard. You know, life a lot of times we go that hard route because, if you really think about life and you think about how you grew up, take for instance me, it was the harder the better, right? Because that's going to teach you like discipline and respect and all of that. Simple is not the solution. You gotta make sure you do everything that you can and go as hard as you can. But the big thing that was missing, and not so much that the hard is I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but obviously as you grow up and you start to understand, we want to simplify things. We don't want things to be hard. We want them to be simple but efficient. But the thing that was missing from all of that was the understanding. So it was always do this, do that, get better. No, you need to, because this is why you should do it. I grew up where it was if an elderly told you something, you did it. It wasn't no question it. It was You just do it. And that's kind of how you learn. And learning like that, a lot of times you don't get that understanding why. And that's all you want as a kid or, somebody younger and somebody, older or vice versa, whatever. That's all you want is that understanding of why. And not why because I'm judging you and I'm, trying to, go over you or something like that. It's why so I can understand, so I can know. Because a lot of times things are hard because there's no understanding behind them. Now, when you start to simplify things and things start to become simple, it's because the simple fact is you understand it. So when you say simple versus hard, you want to start thinking about understanding versus not understanding. Because think about so many things, right? When you understand it, let's just take a job, right? Take a job. If you can think back, even if you've been for your job for a long time, right? Just think back to the beginning when you first started that job. You didn't know nothing. You didn't understand. It was hard, right? It was like, man, like, it's not simple, because you got to learn things. But as you learning those things at work, you understand what you're learning, right? Because they're going to allow you to understand because they want you to understand what you're doing so you don't make the mistakes and things of that nature. As time goes on with that job, guess what? You continue to get better. So as you get better, things become simple. So the thing in life, what a lot of times we do is, it's not about repetition to understand. It's just about repetition for the sake of repetition. So let's start understanding everything we do. And that's what allowed me to get ahead, to get over that hump, was the understanding of things because I was learning a lot. Like I was learning a lot, like a learning machine, but I wasn't understanding all of it because first of all, I was speeding. Like I always say, we all our own car. And we can allow somebody else to drive it or we drive it. But a lot of times we speed. I was speeding. So when you speed through things, how can you really understand it? You're going to understand some, but not as much as you can if you slow down. Put your foot on that brake. Just slow down to start understanding. So I continue to make things hard. And then it's always that, oh, why again? Why it got to be so hard for me? Type of thoughts that you have, but it's really you. Because life comes down to you. Your lifestyle is yours. I always say we're unique like DNA. And we the only person that's with ourselves 24/7, 365 days for our whole life. People are in our life parts of the time, no matter who it is, mama, daddy, brother, husband, wife, it don't matter. You are the only person that's with you all the time. So I had to realize if I'm going to be with me all the time, then why wouldn't I program me to fit me? And that's where we go wrong. We do not program ourselves to fit us. We program it to fit our environment, our situation, whatever it might be. But it all starts with you. When you start to understand that you are the most important thing, which I had to do because I got a big heart and obviously I care, and that's what we taught to care, right? For others. But we must care for ourselves first because I always say, how can you help somebody else if you can't even help yourself? Right? So you must continue to understand you so you can give out the best help, give out the best advice. But until you can really start to understand you, then what are you creating? What are you creating your lifestyle for if it's not for you? And I had to start creating it for me. And when I start creating it for me, that's when the levels start continuing to go and you get higher and higher because you start to understand so much more. That's when you create those positive moments. That's when you create that happiness. No matter what happens, you understand you. So therefore, you can overcome anything. When you can really understand you, it's no obstacle that can ever get in your way. Because the simple fact is, you are going to figure out a solution for it. And the more you understand about yourself, the faster you figure out those solutions. I used to have those moments where I was just like depressed days, anxiety days, and sometimes it lasts a day. Sometimes it might be a week, 2 weeks. It could be a whole month, And it was just like, how? How do you get out of it? A lot of times we want to continue to make things hard for ourselves because it makes us feel good sometimes when we are in misery because now we feel like, okay, well, I'm giving myself something. But it's the negativity that you're giving yourself. And I continue to make it hard for myself, like I said before, in so many different aspects of life because obviously your lifestyle is so broad. But like I said, when we can slow down, put your foot on the brake, you know what I'm saying? And just start to understand what is transpiring throughout our days. Because that's where it starts. It starts with your day and then it continues on. If you don't get control of your day, how you get control of your week? How you get control of your month? Right? You have to get control of your days. But then even when you get in control of your days, I had to break them down because my mind is going 1,000 miles a minute and I'm thinking so many things. So much is transpiring, even as I'm climbing those levels. I'm still not speeding, but I'm still moving fast. So what I had to do is I had to start to really control my days by breaking them up because a lot of times we think month, we think week, we think day, but now break down your days, right? We all have a morning, we all have midday, and we all have a night. So to completely understand who I was, I had to start to break it down from the beginning. Like, let's get back to the basics. You know what I mean? Like the days when you was doing the sit-ups and push-ups and jumping jacks and stuff, like just basic, simple stuff. Because we complicate things, we make it hard. But we want to simplify it. So I wanted to simplify it for me so I could continue to grow. So what I had to do is split up those days. So now, what is happening in my morning? Like, what moments am I creating? I had to understand what habits are taking place, like what is my time? Like I had to start to understand them in the morning, in the midday, into the night. And it's all about repetition, 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 because that is going to allow you to really believe in it, really put it in your conscious mind and in your subconscious mind and continue to build off of it. And that's what I had to do. And when you're doing it like that, you want to start to now, okay, so I have my morning, I have my midday, I have my night. So, well, how do I break up those habits and, start understanding the moments in my time? Like, how do I break that up? You break that up in the things that you do every single day, because it's 4 values that we do every single day from when we're born until we no longer here. You do these and you taught them to a certain extent and taught them in certain ways that they might not make sense together. But self, right? We born to take care of ourselves. That's the first thing we all have to do. You have to learn how to take care of yourself, right? Activity. I talked about those. Go back to the basics, the sit-ups, the push-ups. You know what I'm saying? Activity. You had to do it at some point, and you do it throughout your life. You are moving. You are moving. Nutrition, right? The food groups, like everything, like you learn it. You do it every day. Finance. When you come into this world, it's not free. So somebody's paying for it. So you do those and you learn them at certain points in your life, but never together. And you never learn them to understand the habits, the moments, and the time that is happening in your life. So when you can tie all that in, now you got those buckets to throw them in, the habits, the moments, and the time, So you think about life, you're thinking about purpose, right? I want to understand what my purpose is. Equal self. Power. I want to understand what my power is. I want to be strong. Activity. So, and then you have energy, right? So that energy, you want to continue to have it. You want to continue to do it, because that's going to be that nutrition. That's going to be that stamina in your life. And then you have the freedom. So you have that finance, PPEF, purpose, power, energy, freedom. You want to continue to use those as the buckets to filter the habits, the moments, the time. If you want to continue to make life hard, continue to do it the way you are doing it. But if you want to simplify life and make life simple, I always say kiss life, keep it super simple, then you want to understand those 4 values. You want to understand all of your day, morning, midday, night, and then build off of it to the day, to the week, to the month, to the quarter, to the year. Repetition, repetition, repetition creates greatness. And when I learn repetition, repetition, it's going to allow me to be consistent, and I'm going to create my greatness by understanding habits, moments, and time in my life. That's when life became simple. That's when the light just went off and everything just became easy. Like I said, I'm still speeding, but everything is still slow, like the Matrix. So, but yeah, if you continue to understand what you are doing in life, you are going to start to make life simple versus hard. So do not continue to make life hard. Continue to simplify life. Keep life simple. Kiss it. Keep it super simple. Let's go discover the greatness.